Hello and welcome back. We do not always have ideal conditions for growing in the winter time, or let alone just keeping plants alive. Winter can just plain suck sometimes. We've been sitting below freezing and we've had some temperatures logged as low as -22 to -24 degrees below Fahrenheit overnight. And with little to no insulation on this one layer poly, it's just 6 mil poly, we've got 1 R factor maybe, or 0.85 R factor on this greenhouse, which is terrible. We need to get our second layer on, but the conditions are not allowing us to. So I have got these two geothermal, I don't know if you can see this pipe and this pipe. I have been making some changes in here. I want to talk about all that, but I want to talk about a few things first. Now, we've had some wilting and dieback on some of our plants in this greenhouse, and we even have a pet mouse that's eating our kale. So I set a trap out for him. I know it's not the most humane way, but I have to keep control of that pest. I've only seen one little hole from a mouse, but I've seen a lot of damage on my kale because I don't come out here very often. So aside from the mouse eating our kale, some of our plants have died back, and that is at nighttime when we have our overnight temps, and we do not hold that heat in because of our R factor value on this greenhouse. So that is why I'm starting with some geothermal, and I have some solar power running our geothermal. It is only going to run during the daytime for right now. I plan on hooking that up to a system that will charge up and run for a couple hours or all night if I possibly can. If I can get 24-hour runtime on my geothermal system, I am going to be very excited with that, because that can suffice 50 degrees solid all winter long without a whole lot of energy put into it. I spent a couple hours working and I dug the whole trench out. I showed a little bit of it in our short video, but I ended up going about 7 feet down. That was a lot of work, and I ruined a lot of our beds by excavating all of that out, but I really needed to get something in place and some quick heat right now. Now, I ended up digging a V shape in this whole walkway behind me, and that was just to fit my body in so I could dig deeper. I went down about 7 feet at the lowest point, and it kind of went down and then straight across. So I dug a 7-foot trench that was probably about 12 to 15 feet long. The ground outside the greenhouse is absolutely frozen solid. I couldn't even pierce it with my short fork there, and that's what I used to break up that entire walkway because we had rocks and clay deposits. It was pretty rough going, and I put a good amount of work into excavating that out and burying our geothermal 4-inch tubing. Now, our compost heater in the corner, which is a complete mess right now, we had to take that apart because we had a frozen line and it cracked before we actually set our compost up, so we were continually losing water and leaking it out, and we wanted to change that up anyway. And I have been acquiring a bunch of pieces and parts slowly to get all of that in order, and I have some more stuff that I want to acquire before I fully convert that whole system. Now, why I brought that compost heating system up is because that was a short-term example of heat. We will be able to rely on this geothermal for a solid 50 degrees no matter what. Normally, geothermal is about 8 to 10 feet deep at the shallowest. I think I'll be able to get away with our 7-foot trench that ran about 15 feet and then came back up to exit and for our entry down there. Now let's go check everything out. I want to show everybody what I'm talking about and ideas going forward. I've got 1 pipe here, 1 pipe there. I spent a lot of time excavating this out, but it's going to be well worth it. All of this is basically getting packed back down again. So coming up over to our solar heating box real quick, we've got about 60 degrees or so in there, and the top of our greenhouse is only about 35. I had this door open because I was basically working with the door open for the last couple hours, so that is to be expected on the temperature there. But I just wanted to show what kind of temps we were holding in this box, and this was about 70 degrees before I had the door open for the last couple hours. Now, running right over here, we've got our little makeshift gasket. I just used some of our old recycled tape that was on our solar heating box, and I basically just wrapped it around here and formed a nice seal. We're not getting very much sunlight to that panel. We have an absolutely cloudy day. There's not much sun coming through there. So this little 5-watt fan is running off that little solar panel. It is the same one that we use for our compost heating in both of our greenhouses here. They are very reliable. We've had one that's ran for over 2 years now. So I'm sure we're not getting the best airflow. I can see that it's not performing the best because we don't have a whole lot of light in here. But I plan on coming out here and showing this on a nice sunny day when it is running at max operation, and I will show what kind of airflow we're getting and what kind of airflow is coming out of those 2 exit pipes down there. So the geothermal system was easy to do, but it was a lot of hard work getting that excavation out. Once I had it excavated, it was very easy to lay the pipe and figure out how I wanted everything and basically get it situated and bury it all in. So if anybody's got any questions on the geothermal system we put in, definitely drop them in the comments below. We love to hear everybody's feedback and questions. I ended up buying a whole 100-foot roll of this stuff, and it costed me about $65–70, which is a decent investment to be able to heat this greenhouse. I have a ton of extra too, so I will be able to lay it way down on the other side and basically do the same thing. So now that I'm down here, I wanted to show a few things that I had picked up. My wife had drugged me to Walmart and I found this in the discount aisle. It is a 800 gallon per hour bilge pump with a float switch. I paid $15. It originally was $39.97. Now I hate Walmart, but this was a pretty good deal. Now excuse my absolute mess of junk up here, but I have acquired these little waterproof 12-volt DC fans that I plan on hooking up and running to run some more geothermal in the future here. Now aside from that, I had gotten this little hydroelectric generator. Now this is meant to power an LED light, but if I have decent flow, I want to see how much juice this actually puts out. It has a replaceable motor and it has like 3,000 plus run hours, and it was about $10 to $12. I just wanted to see what I could do. You can see our whole overflow is frozen. That's how absolutely cold it was in here. We got some 3/4 inch PEX tubing. I got about 100 feet of that. I found that on sale actually. I paid less than $40 for that roll. So this is 3/4 inch, that's 3/4 inch, this is 3/4 inch, and so is the exit on our pump that is frozen in that water. I've got to thaw that out and get my pump and all my hosing out of there because we're taking all this stuff apart and kind of reworking this whole corner. I may excavate some more out. Set this down. Now what I plan on doing over here, I just wanted to brainstorm with everybody. I'm going to get a larger overflow tank and I'm probably going to come out further with it. Now I want to build some type of box along this bed here, even if I have to excavate some of my bed out. I want to make a nice big rock bed that has walls, but I also want to insulate it on the floor and possibly on the sides so I can run my PEX tubing through all of those rocks and make a giant heat sink and possibly blow the air through that heat sink and continually run that air overnight also, so I could have a nice hot bed of rock that would continually draw heat off of it well into the night. Now with our PEX tubing, I plan on grabbing some copper tubing also, and the copper is the only contact surface in our compost. That is what I want to do in order to transfer more heat. The plastic was not working very well. It transferred heat. I think we could transfer much more heat with all copper tubing, and we could have it connecting to our PEX once it comes out of our system, because our transfer rate could be much higher. And that was just an idea for a large rock-filled insulated heat sink. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I wanted to bounce that idea off people to see what kind of ideas you guys have in order to store that heat or transfer the heat into some type of system, possibly water. I might run my PEX to this big barrel, my rain barrel here, and just fill it up with hot water all day and basically just let it siphon back in and continue that cycle. But I would still plan on running through a heat sink in order to transfer to both systems and continually multi-purpose all of these systems, and basically use that little hydroelectric generator here to run off of the water. Well, the water would be coming out of the PEX tubing, so we would be able to generate a little bit of electricity with already moving water that we're moving with the sun. for free. Basically, all of these systems are bought and paid for, and they've paid for themselves well many times over. So I just wanted to share with everyone the process of getting this geothermal up and running, and what we're doing going forward with our compost heating system. I'm waiting on a load of wood chips. Hopefully the guy can even drop them in our yard, because there's so much snow he may get stuck. So we may be just stuck using little compost piles all winter long, as long as I have enough material to burn. I just want to thank everybody for watching these videos and checking out our simple heating experiment.